My daughter-in-law manipulated my son to throw me out of my own home. She'd been planning it since before my husband was even dead. When I tried to fight back, I learned that the son I raised had become someone I didn't recognize at all. I am Elizabeth, I'm 67 years old, and this is my story. My husband Vincent and I bought our house in 1995. We were young, broke, and had a newborn son named Jasper. That house wasn't much to look at then, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, and a kitchen that barely fit 2 people. But we poured our hearts into it. Vincent worked construction during the day and renovated our home at night. I worked at the local grocery store and handled all the painting and decorating. We raised Jasper in that house. Every scraped knee, every birthday party, every Christmas morning happened within those walls. When Vincent passed away 2 years ago from a heart attack, I thought about selling. The house felt too big, too quiet. But Jasper convinced me to stay. "Mom, this is your home," he said. "Dad would want you to keep it. Besides, Betrayal and I might need somewhere to stay while we save for our own place." Betrayal. His girlfriend of 2 years who seemed sweet enough. She worked as a dental hygienist and always brought me flowers when they visited. I thought she was good for David. I was wrong about a lot of things. 6 months after Vincent's funeral, Jasper asked if he and Betrayal could move in temporarily. They were planning to get married and wanted to save money for a down payment on their own house. I said yes immediately. The house felt less lonely with them there, and I enjoyed having someone to cook for again. At first, everything seemed perfect. Betrayal helped with groceries, Jasper mowed the lawn, and we'd watch movies together on Friday nights. I started thinking maybe this arrangement could work long-term. Maybe I wouldn't have to grow old alone in that big house. But things started changing after they got married 6 months later. Small things at first. Betrayal would rearrange my kitchen without asking. She'd throw away my mail, claiming it was just junk. She started referring to different rooms as our bedroom and our bathroom instead of the guest room. I brushed it off. Newlyweds need their space, I told myself. I was probably being too sensitive. The first real warning sign came during Thanksgiving. I always hosted, and it was my favorite tradition. I'd been planning the menu for weeks, buying ingredients, preparing my mother's stuffing recipe. The night before Thanksgiving, Betrayal announced she'd invited her parents and siblings, 8 additional people I'd never met. "I hope that's okay," she said, but her tone suggested it wasn't really a question. "I already told them you were excited to meet them." I scrambled to buy more food, extend the table, prepare extra dishes. During dinner, Betrayal's mother kept commenting on how the house could use some updating, and asking Betrayal when they planned to put their own stamp on the place. Betrayal just smiled and said, "Soon, hopefully." After everyone left, I found Jasper in the kitchen cleaning up. "Next time, maybe give me more notice about extra guests," I said gently. He barely looked up from the dishes. Betrayal was just trying to include her family. "Isn't that what you want? For us all to be one big happy family?" Something in his tone felt off, but I let it go. Over the next few months, Betrayal became bolder. She started making comments about how outdated my furniture was, how the house needed a woman's touch, how I should consider updating my old-fashioned decorating style. She'd invite friends over without asking me, treating the house like it was hers. When I tried to talk to Jasper about it, he'd say things like, "She's just trying to help, Mom," or "You're being a little dramatic, don't you think?" But the real turning point came when I found Betrayal going through my bedroom closet. I came home from grocery shopping and found her piling my clothes on the bed. "What are you doing?" I asked. "Oh, I'm just helping you declutter," she said casually. "You have so many clothes you never wear. I thought we could donate them and make room for some newer pieces." These weren't just clothes. Some of them were dresses Vincent had bought me, sweaters I'd worn on special occasions with my late husband. I told her to stop, but she just laughed. Elizabeth, you're never going to wear half this stuff again. Let's be realistic. That night, I told Jasper what happened. I expected him to be upset, to talk to his wife about boundaries. Instead, he sighed like I was being difficult. Mom, Brielle was just trying to help. You do have a lot of clothes you never wear. Those clothes have memories, Jasper. Some of them were gifts from your father. Dad's gone, Mom. At some point, you have to let go. I felt like he'd slapped me. This was my son, the boy I'd raised, talking to me like I was some senile old woman clinging to the past. Things escalated quickly after that. Brielle started making major decisions about the house without consulting me. She hired painters to redo the living room while I was visiting my sister for the weekend. I came home to find my soft blue walls, the color Vincent and I had chosen together, painted a stark white. Surprise! Brielle said when I walked in. Doesn't it look so much more modern? I stared at those white walls and felt something die inside me. This wasn't just a room anymore. It was a statement. This isn't your house anymore, Elizabeth. When I confronted Jasper, he said Brielle had used her own money, so what was the problem? When I pointed out that it was still my house, he got annoyed. Mom, you're being selfish. Brielle is trying to make this place a home for all of us, and you're fighting her every step of the way. Selfish. My own son called me selfish for wanting a say in what happened to my own home. The breaking point came 3 months later. I'd planned a small birthday party for myself, just a few friends from church, nothing fancy. I'd bought cake, prepared some snacks, cleaned the house. An hour before my guests were supposed to arrive, Brielle came downstairs in workout clothes. Oh, I forgot to mention, I scheduled a Pilates class here today. My instructor is bringing equipment for 12 people. I hope that's okay. 12 strangers were about to do yoga in my living room while I was supposed to be celebrating my birthday with friends. Brielle, this is my birthday party. I've already invited people. Well, I already confirmed with my instructor. She's bringing all her equipment. Can't you just reschedule your little get-together? My little get-together. My birthday party was a little get-together that could be rescheduled, but her Pilates class was unmovable. I looked at Jasper, waiting for him to say something, anything. He just stood there looking uncomfortable. Jasper? I said. Maybe you could do your party tomorrow, Mom. Brielle already committed to this. I canceled my birthday party. I called my friends and made excuses. I spent my 67th birthday hiding in my bedroom while 12 strangers did Pilates in my living room. That night, I decided enough was enough. I sat Jasper and Brielle down and told them I thought it was time for them to find their own place. I tried to be gentle about it, but I was clear. This arrangement wasn't working anymore. Brielle's mask finally came off. Are you kidding me right now? She said. We've put thousands of dollars into improving this house. We've been taking care of you, and this is how you repay us? Taking care of me? I was paying all the utilities, buying most of the groceries, and they weren't paying rent. Brielle, this is my house, I said quietly. Actually, she said, standing up with a smile that chilled me, I think you'll find that's not entirely true anymore. She left the room and came back with a folder of papers. Legal documents. My heart started racing as she spread them across the coffee table. See, the thing is, Elizabeth, Jasper is already on the deed to this house. Has been since his dad died. And as his wife, I have certain rights too. I looked at Jasper. Is this true? He couldn't meet my eyes. Mom, Dad left the house to both of us. I thought you knew that. I didn't know. Vincent had handled all our legal affairs, and after he died, I'd been too grief-stricken to go through everything carefully. I'd assumed the house was mine alone. So here's what's going to happen, Brielle continued. You can stay, but things are going to change. This is our house now too, and we're going to run it our way. Or you can leave and find somewhere else to live. Your choice. I wish I could say I fought back, that I stood up for myself. But I was 67 years old, alone, and suddenly discovering that the son I'd raised and the house I'd lived in for 40 years might not actually be mine anymore. I called a lawyer the next day. He confirmed my worst fears. Vincent had indeed left the house to both Jasper and me as joint owners. As Jasper's spouse, Brielle had legal rights to the property too. I could fight it, the lawyer said, but it would be expensive, messy, and there was no guarantee I'd win. Meanwhile, Brielle made good on her threats. She changed the locks on the house while I was at the lawyer's office. When I came home, my key didn't work. I had to ring the doorbell to get into my own house. Jasper answered the door looking embarrassed but determined. Mom, Brielle thinks it would be better if you stayed somewhere else for a while. Just until we can all figure this out. Jasper, this is my home. It's our home too, Mom. And Brielle, she's my wife. I have to support her. My suitcases were already packed and sitting by the door. 40 years of my life reduced to 2 suitcases and a cardboard box. I've been living in extended stay hotels for 3 months now. I'm fighting the legal battle, but it's draining my savings. Some days I think about giving up, just letting them have the house and finding a small apartment somewhere. But then I remember Vincent painting the kitchen on Saturday mornings, Jasper taking his first steps in the hallway, birthday parties and Christmas mornings and quiet Sunday afternoons. That house isn't just property to me. It's my life. Last week, I got a call from Jasper's high school friend, Mike. He'd heard through mutual friends about what happened, and he wanted me to know something important. Mrs. Thompson, I don't know if this matters, but Brielle approached me about 6 months before your husband died. She was asking a lot of questions about Jasper's family, about your house, about your finances. I thought it was weird at the time, but I figured she was just being thorough about getting serious with Jasper. 6 months before Vincent died. Brielle had been planning this long before she'd even met me. I confronted Jasper with this information when I finally managed to corner him at the grocery store. For a moment, just a moment, I saw doubt flicker across his face. Mom, that's not possible. Brielle and I met at the coffee shop near her work. Did you? Or did she make sure to be at that coffee shop when she knew you'd be there? I stared at him for a long time. Then he shook his head. I can't listen to you try to destroy my marriage. Brielle loves me. And what about me, Jasper? Do you love me? He couldn't answer. My own son couldn't tell me he loved me. The lawyer's office smelled like old leather and broken dreams. I sat across from Mr. Harrison, watching him flip through page after page of legal documents, his expression growing more serious with each turn. Mrs. Thompson, I have to ask you something, and I need you to be completely honest with me, he said, removing his glasses. When your husband passed away, did you review all the estate documents yourself? I shook my head. Vincent handled all of that. I couldn't focus on paperwork when I was planning his funeral. I see. He pulled out a thick folder. Because there's something here that changes everything. My heart started pounding. What do you mean? Your husband didn't just leave the house to you and Jasper as joint owners. There's a clause here that I don't think you're aware of. He pointed to a paragraph buried in the legal jargon. If you were to become unable to care for the property or if you chose to move out voluntarily, Jasper would inherit your share automatically. I felt sick. But I didn't abandon it. They threw me out. That's what we have to prove, Mrs. Thompson. The problem is you left voluntarily. You packed your bags and walked out. In the eyes of the law, that could be seen as abandonment. I realized then that this wasn't just about a manipulative daughter-in-law. This was about a perfectly orchestrated legal trap, and I had walked right into it. 3 months later, I learned about the reverse mortgage from my neighbor, Mrs. Kowalski. Elizabeth, I hope you don't mind me asking, but what's happening over there? There have been contractors in and out for weeks, and I saw a bank appraiser yesterday. My stomach dropped. What kind of contractors? Renovation crews. They're gutting the whole inside. Betrayal told me they're updating everything before they retire. Retire? Jasper was 30 years old. I called the mortgage company and learned that a reverse mortgage had been taken out on my property for $340,000. The money had been borrowed against the home's equity. They were planning to strip every dollar from the house and then disappear. The courtroom was smaller than I expected. I sat with my lawyer, Mr. Harrison, while Jasper and Betrayal sat across the aisle with their expensive attorney. Betrayal had cleaned up nicely for court. She wore a conservative navy dress and minimal makeup, looking every inch the concerned daughter-in-law. When I testified, I told my story. The manipulation, the gradual takeover, the birthday party incident, the changed locks. But their lawyer made me sound like a bitter old woman who couldn't accept her son's happiness. Mrs. Thompson, isn't it true that you called the police on my client? I called to report that my locks had been changed without my permission. And you did this because you couldn't accept that your son had chosen his wife over you? By the time she was done with me, I looked like the villain in my own story. When Betrayal took the stand, she was smooth, prepared. She painted herself as a loving wife trying to care for an aging mother-in-law who had become increasingly difficult. I tried so hard to make Elizabeth feel welcome, she said, tears forming in her eyes. But she saw me as a threat from day one. The judge ruled in my favor, but it was a hollow victory. The reverse mortgage still had to be paid, and the legal fees had drained most of my savings. I could have the house back, but I couldn't afford to keep it. Jasper filed for divorce 2 weeks after the trial. Betrayal moved out of state, taking whatever cash she could access. She left behind a mountain of debt and a son who finally understood what he'd lost. He came to see me at the assisted living facility where I'd moved after selling the house to pay off the reverse mortgage. "Mom," he said, standing in the doorway like he wasn't sure he was welcome. "I'm sorry." 2 words that came about 18 months too late. "I know," I said. "I know you are. I don't know how to fix this." I looked at this man who used to be my little boy, who used to trust me completely, who had chosen a stranger over the woman who raised him. "Some things can't be fixed, Jasper. They can only be survived. I keep thinking about the son I raised. The boy who used to crawl into bed with me during thunderstorms, who brought me dandelions and called them flowers, who cried when his hamster died and asked if we could have a funeral in the backyard. Where did that boy go? When did he become someone who could watch his wife systematically destroy his mother's life and call it love? I used to think Betrayal was the villain in this story. And maybe she is. But Jasper made choices. Every time Betrayal crossed a line, every time she pushed a boundary, every time she treated me like an unwelcome guest in my own home, Jasper chose her side. He chose to let her repaint my walls. He chose to let her cancel my birthday party. He chose to let her change the locks. He chose to stop taking my phone calls. At what point does being manipulated become a choice to hurt someone who loves you? I've been thinking a lot about family lately. What makes someone family? Is it blood? Is it shared history? Is it love? I'm still fighting for my house. Some days I think I'm fighting for justice, other days I think I'm just fighting because I don't know how to stop. Maybe I'll win, maybe I won't. Maybe there will be anything left to win. Now I look back wondering, was Jasper ever really my family, or was he just a stranger I happened to raise?
This is Family or Not, where we share stories that no one wants to talk about at family dinners.